All right, hello everybody. I'm Rudy, marginal non-hermit here, and I've got something for you about inflationary expectations. And what it is actually is I have a little bit of a nitpick with a Mises article that I think is missing something. So let's dive into this a little bit and see what we can see. So over here we've got an article by Frank Shostak, who is a well-known and very solid Austrian economist. And he has written an article called Inflationary Expectations Do Not Cause Inflation. And I'm trying to understand exactly what he's getting at, and maybe I'm misreading this, but basically he's quoting Ben Bernanke, saying, quote, undoubtedly the state of inflation expectations greatly influences actual inflation and thus the central bank's ability to achieve price stability, end quote. And he's quoting this kind of ironically, saying that all of these, modern, all of these mainstream economists are saying, well, if we can just get these animal spirits under control, then we won't have as nearly as bad inflation. Later on, he says that we suggest that without the preceding increases in money supply, there cannot be a general increase in prices, or what is popularly called inflation. Now, the price of a good is the monetary amount paid per unit of a good. Hence, for a given quantity of goods, if the stock of money remains unchanged, the number of dollars spent per unit of a good will also be unchanged. Hence, it is increases in the money supply that underpin the underlying rises in prices and not inflationary expectations. Without the support from the money supply, no general increase in prices can take place, notwithstanding inflationary expectations. Assume that because of a strong increase in the price of oil, individuals raise their inflationary expectations. If the money stock remains unchanged, then no general increase in the prices of goods and services is going to take place, notwithstanding the increase in inflationary expectations. If more money is spent on oil and energy related products, less money will be left for other goods and services. Now, here's what I think Frank is missing. Let's go over to Mises. We're in chapter 17 of Human Action. Indirect Exchange is the title of the chapter. And we're in section 8, the anticipation of expected changes in purchasing power. And here we have Mises describing what he calls the crack-up boom. But if once public opinion is convinced that the increase in the quantity of money will continue and never come to an end, and that consequently the prices of all commodities and services will not cease to rise, everybody becomes eager to buy as much as possible and to restrict his cash holding to a minimum size. For under these circumstances, the regular costs incurred by holding cash are increased by the losses caused by the progressive fall in purchasing power. The advantages of holding cash must be paid for by sacrifices which are deemed unreasonably burdensome. This phenomenon was, in the great European inflations of the 20s, called flight into real goods, or crack-up boom. The mathematical economists are at a loss to comprehend the causal relation between the increase in the quantity of money and what they call velocity of circulation. So, just to give you a little picture of some actual data, here we have currency, demand deposits, and other liquid deposits. This is money in banks, basically. And we're looking at, these are in billions of dollars, so we're looking at currently, we've got 2.25 trillion of currency in circulation. We've got about 5 trillion in demand deposits. We've got about a little under 11 trillion in other liquid deposits, right? And then if we look at GDP, we've got an expectation for the annual GDP of around $27.6 trillion this year. Now, these two numbers are kind of on similar orders of magnitude. And so what I'm arguing can happen is that exactly what Mises is saying here is that as the government increases the quantity of money, as inflation, inflation of the money supply occurs, you can also get an increase in velocity of circulation. Basically, let's separate the population into two groups. Group A, that expects moderate to mild inflation, and Group B, that expects heavy inflation. Comparing to a group where everyone kind of has the same inflation expectations, what can happen is that if some group starts to expect higher inflation, that group will start to draw down on its savings and sell, or rather, it will buy non-dollar assets from Group A. Those dollars don't go away, they don't vanish, but they get transferred to the group that expects lower inflation. In the process, the prices of goods, and this could be pretty close to a general price a general price increase will happen because of this bidding war that happens. Group A will then observe that inflation has gotten worse because, hey, I now have all these dollars and all of the prices of the goods I just sold, I made a profit because I sold them for more than I thought they were worth. But now what I have are dollars and not the goods, and prices are still going up. What can happen is that the group that expects high inflation can draw down on its savings and net hand dollars to the other group that expects lower inflation. They get those assets, the prices of those assets are bid up, at least in the short run, and you can have inflation from this increasing of the velocity of circulation. Money that was previously kind of laying there, getting spent now because people are trying to draw down on their cash balances. I don't know. What do you think? Am I crazy here? Am I misunderstanding Frank Shostak's point? Obviously there has to be some kind of increase in the money supply to underpin the inflation, right? But in a sense, if you separate the economy into two groups of people, one that expects inflation and one that does not, you can have a flow of money and a flow of goods from one group to the other based on this difference in expectations that leads to price inflation. I don't know. That's kind of my thoughts on this. I hate to call Frank Shostak out to be wrong, and maybe he's not, because he's saying that the increase in prices, that the increase in the money supply underpins that. So, question mark? I'm not really 100% sure. But I thought this was worth talking about and worth pointing out, that you can separate the economy into two different groups, and you can have a net flow of money from one group to the other due to different inflation expectations, and then the flow of goods comes at higher prices. And as long as Group A, the one that is taking the cash, has all kinds of goods to their names, then Group B can buy all of those types of goods, and you can have something that at least looks like a general increase in the price structure. It is not true that what I think is not true is this right here, that the prices of oil and energy related goods go up while the prices of other goods and services go down. The group expecting inflation can buy all kinds of goods from the group expecting less inflation, and you can have a bidding war on basically all goods, because what's happening is that velocity is changing in a non-homogeneous way across the economy. Anyway, that's my little economic thing for today. Let me know what you think. If you think I'm on the right path, if you think that there's something that in Frank's article, which I'll put in the description, if you think there's something that I got wrong, or that I misinterpreted what he's writing here, it's certainly possible. As always, you can you can send me, you can comment on this video, you can comment over on my website, you can send me an email at mnh, as in marginal non-hermit, at marginalnonhermit.com. And yeah, if you have anything that you'd like me to pontificate on, go ahead and send me a message, let me know, and if I can, I'll give it a look. So yeah, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.